Mic check. Microphone check. Oh my goodness. Happy Friday, everybody. The friendliest Friday in all the land. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. It's good to be here. I've got a hell of an outline for you today. And right before we went live, a big fuck you from the Justice Department. They're like, hey, we did a whole bunch of shit today to distract you from the fact that there's going to be a nasty Epstein documents dump. And when I tell you it's nasty, I mean it's like it's bad. It doesn't look good. And so no show on Saturday, no show on Sunday. What Jen and I have talked about is I'm going to cover some of the highlights, some of the stuff that we were going to cover in the first place. And then we're just going to read through what was dropped today. We're going to search for names. Obviously, we can't go through every document, but we'll search for the names that we're looking for. We'll look for Clinton. We'll look for Trump. We'll look for Bannon. We may look for Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. We'll look for all of those names. And it might be a long stream today, but it's going to be a little bit different. And hopefully, those of you that are in the audience that are paying attention can join in, help us find things you can search with us. And we can maybe come up with some of the stuff that is that's glaring. The first thing I clicked this morning, the very first thing I clicked this morning, I was like, "Oh, okay." Now I know why they want to distract from this. So I think something like 3 million more were dropped just literally 15 minutes ago is when we got the news on that. So. Sorry for being a little late, but I'll give you some overtime. Just a reminder, if you're on TikTok, do me a favor, hit that like button, get those likes up as fast as we possibly can to avoid TikTok from banning us. If you'd like to gift, that's super helpful too. That will, although TikTok takes a good portion of those gifts, it does help us be a little more protected. And maybe at some point, TikTok will allow our show to be recommended and not just for the people who subscribe. Another reminder, if you're not subscribed, wherever you're watching right now, if you're on TikTok or if you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitch, if you're not currently subscribed, will you check that real quick? Make sure that you subscribe and then turn on notifications so that when we go live, you know that we're live. And that also helps us in the algorithm. So thank you guys in advance for that. And for our paid members, welcome. We may do something this weekend. I don't know. Got a weird weekend lined up, but I wanted to thank all of our paid members for making this possible. If you're not a paid member, you can be a paid member on YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok, and that gives you access to our members-only events, which we hold every other Monday night. Right now we're doing movies, but I think in the future we might try some other things as well. Kids protesting for their woke parents. No one is protesting small potatoes. What? Oh, shut the fuck up. I tell you what, the kids were protesting in a school by my house. I was proud as hell of those kids. Yeah, I met a family yesterday who are here legally, and they're here legally on an asylum claim. I don't want to mention what country they're from. I don't want to give away any identifying details, but they're here on an asylum claim because they stood up to a corrupt government and. Then not only government, but criminals in their country threaten their lives. So they're here. And I was just asking him. It was a little tricky because we had a bit of a language barrier. But the way that I met them is their daughter came up we were out at a park with my daughter. She came up and she just asked my daughter if they would be friends. She's like, well, do you want to be my friend? My daughter's like, of course, let's be friends. And it was beautiful to watch because her English is really struggles. She's 6 years old, and she's only been here for less than a year, so she's never really learned English, and she's learning for the first time. But she saw my daughter want to be friends, and it was adorable because they ran off together, and then they were just able to communicate like through actions. They were rolling down the hill. They were doing gymnastics. They each brought out like their stuffed animals and were showing each other. So it was a beautiful thing. But in talking to their dad, just how afraid he is. And he's telling me, we came here because we thought this was a safe place. And when we came over, we thought we had a solid asylum claim. But other people in his family running from the same thing have been detained. And this is a person with a work visa. They all have work visas, and they're able to go to work. And multiple members of their family have been detained, have been stopped. Some of them detained for multiple days. And it's just a reminder that it is we don't have to do any of this shit. Like, this deportation shit doesn't really have to happen. Not the way that it's happening. We don't have to go after asylum seekers. We don't have to go after families who are just here trying to make their life better. I was asking him what he had done for work. Like, he was a manager at a hardware store, and his wife was an attorney. And now he's here working construction, and she's working whatever restaurant shifts she can pick up. And so they're here, they're contributing. Their kids are going to school, and they're terrified for their lives, which sucks. He's like, if we get deported, then and go back, and the country that they're from, when I looked, like, they certainly don't qualify for refugee status. They certainly don't qualify for automatic asylum, and it's just like a devastating place that we're in right now, and the lack of humanity, especially from a group of people who love to put that cross on and love to talk about family values and consistently talk about how, marriage is between a man and a woman, and we need to have families and have kids, and unless they're like brown, in which case we better get rid of them. If they're ever taken, if they're deported, most people won't know, and everybody here will trash them. All the Republicans that we see every day will just trash them and say that they deserved it, and say this is what they voted for. And the cruelty is getting old. Honestly, it's getting it's old. I think it's wearing on all of us. If it's not wearing on you, I've got concerns. Honestly, I really question the people who are watching this happening and celebrating it. If you're not a troll, if you're not here to talk shit just because you're a troll, I have deep concerns. Trolls, some of you just don't get it. Some of you just like to troll people. But for those of you who are serious about your opinions, gross. Just really fucking gross. So anyways, what Jen sent me a message. What did she say here? Do we get a friendly Friday? We'll see. It's hard to do friendly Friday, to be honest, like with the limited amount of time that we have. And I think one thing to remember is Steve Bannon is quoted, and Donald Trump has taken a lot of his ideas from Steve Bannon, from Roger Stone. And while they don't play like a direct role now, they definitely play a role. They're definitely in contact with Stephen Miller. They consult each other. And Steve Bannon has always said, flood the zone with shit. Flood the zone with shit. When you're trying to get things done, when you're president, flood the zone with so much shit that people can't figure out what's important and what's not, or what they should focus on. And it allows the people who voted for Donald Trump to continue. And they just go, well, it wasn't like this with other presidents. Every day we wake up and liberals are upset about a new thing. Yeah. That's because he does it on purpose. He does, like, the amount of crazy shit Donald Trump did fucking yesterday. We're arresting journalists. He's suing his own IRS for something that happened while he was president. We're talking openly about threatening the ICC, threatening Canada, threatening France, all of our trade partners. I don't. As a journalist, it's hard to figure out like what actually to cover every day. All of those things are real. All of those things are bad. All of those things are unjust. All of those things are unwarranted. All of those things deserve coverage. So how do you even sort through that? And that's the problem. And all of that, by the way, also keeps his own base distracted. Keeps them distracted because all they're focused on is defending him. So while he's just fucking over all of you, giving you nothing, you see a lot of viral videos now. People are doing their taxes and finding out for the first time that no tax on tips doesn't mean no tax on tips. No tax on overtime doesn't mean no tax on overtime. People are going and doing their taxes now, and they're like, wait just a goddamn minute. And we said that from the beginning. And we saw how the law was written, but it's being exposed in real time. How many people don't read the bills and don't fact check anything? So when Donald Trump said there's no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, people are like, great, on to the next. That's just what it is. And then the bill comes out. We're like, actually, it's gonna be just for the halftime. There's a limit on how much before you stop paying taxes on it. The tax on tips is very limited as well. It's not going to be what you think it is. None of them listened, and here we are during tax time. So Donald Trump hits historic lows in approval ratings. Not only now, even with his own party, he's starting to dip on specific issues like immigration. And as his support collapses, his strategy seems to be doubling down on, I'm a victim, everybody's against me, you need to vote for me, because if you don't vote for me, then they're going to put me in jail. And that seems to be like the rallying cry now for MAGA across the board. States gerrymandering, changing their election laws, outright cheating, getting ready to cheat for these upcoming elections, all just because Donald Trump told them, hey, they're coming after me if we lose. And then Republicans look at the polls and they're like, well, fuck, what are we gonna run on? Can't run on policy. We can't go out there and tell the people what Donald Trump tells them all the time, like, hey, it's going great, actually. You actually all have more money and things are cheaper. So what do we have to run on? We have to still complaining. While the Republicans own the House, the Senate, and the presidency, complain. Make everything seem like it's unfair. And for those MAGA that are here today, I just want to tell you, one, welcome. It's good to have you here. I hope you engage in the conversation. Two, do your very best to be objective. Try your very best to hear something, listen to it, process it, think about it, and fact check it. If you hear something and if your first thought is, who on the left could I accuse of doing this same thing so I don't have to accept this? That's a sad life. Don't do that. Doesn't do you any good, doesn't do the country any good. If I'm wrong, if we're wrong over here on the left, tell us. Explain it to us. You talk about unity, you talk about coming together. You want these things that Trump wants. You want us to agree with him. You want us to celebrate his wins. Then explain them to us. That's what we're going to have a hard time doing today, is getting an explanation from anybody about why the fuck we live in a totalitarian police state now, why we're just trampling all over the First Amendment. Every day we're trampling over the First Amendment. Looks like I've been crying a lot. No, not yet today. Probably later. I'll probably cry later. I cry all the time. I appreciate that, actually. You look like you have emotions, and that when bad things are happening to innocent people, it makes you sad. Ah, fuck, you got me. Burn. Fucking burn. You look like things have been weighing on you. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no shit, things are weighing on me. You can't go anywhere without being reminded of the cruelty of this administration. Can't enlighten you while you're watching MSNBC. See, that's what I'm talking about, David Thompson. It's exactly what I'm talking about. I asked you, have an open mind. Let's fact check some stuff. And you're like, I cannot fact check anything because you watch MSNBC. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Are you all that way? Like in your life? Is that how you exist in your life? I hope not. I hope that you stick around today and that you engage honestly. But fingers crossed. Amy Lynn said, hashtag follow Don Lemon campaign, follow in solidarity, costs nothing. Is that, I don't know if that, I'm assuming that's across all social media platforms. Excuse me. Hashtag follow Don Lemon campaign. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but I think perhaps one of the most discouraging things I saw is two things happened in succession. I pulled up, I was on Blue Sky this morning and Twitter, and what I saw from a lot of like the bros is the bros were saying, I guess Joe Rogan said he didn't want to pay to apply for the podcast of the year for the Grammys or some shit. Is it the Grammys? Is that what they had last night? And everybody's just saying like, oh, you're number one, so you should just get the award, which is never how it works anyways. And I was like, man, it bothers me a little bit that he's still number one because he's such an obvious like stooge at this point. Joe Rogan's about 3 weeks late to every talking point. And then when he rolls it out, it's like, man, dude, the administration already abandoned this talking point. Let me give an example. He also had on Andrew Wilson, which, whatever. If you like Andrew Wilson, you like Andrew Wilson. My friend Adam Kahn, if you guys follow him, just debated Andrew Wilson and annihilated him on fascism. Adam's brilliant. Adam is if you don't follow him, he does a lot of TikTok debates. I'm biased. I like Adam. We did a Jubilee episode together. He's an economics major. I think he's completed his economics degree. I think he lives in Michigan. I also think he's might be the best debater on TikTok if you're going to get into like in-depth conversations, especially on economics. So check him out. He debated Andrew and absolutely destroyed him. And Andrew's been exposed so many times over the last couple of months. And so naturally, as we do damage control, somehow his white nationalist buddies get him on with Joe Rogan. And here's Joe Rogan telling Andrew Wilson some really important stuff that Joe Rogan definitely isn't just repeating. Joe Rogan definitely had this thought by himself. It just so happens that we've heard this exact thought from every Republican commentator 3 weeks ago.
There's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on and why riots only in Minneapolis and why riots.
What's that? Oh, video. Thank you. Appreciate it.
In the place where there's an ungodly amount of fraud that has been discovered.
Coincidentally, right around the same.
That's the correct spelling, RGZ Mom. Thank you. Everybody go follow Adam Kahn if you can on TikTok or YouTube where he's at.
Time.
Exactly. Like instantaneously afterwards, the narrative godly amount of fraud that has been discovered.
Coincidentally, right around the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, coincidentally not. And I'm bitter as fuck today. I'm mad as fuck today. Like, I can't stand Andrew Wilson. I can't stand how smugly he says dumb shit. I've debated a lot of people. Andrew Wilson is one of the smartest people I've debated. He's an intelligent guy. That's why it pisses me off. He's smart enough to know this is fucking stupid. He's smart enough to know that all of these protests happened before Nick Shirley's story broke. He's also smart enough to know that Nick Shirley didn't break a fucking story. 0 prosecutions, 0 investigations since Nick Shirley visited those businesses. None of those businesses are under investigation. Not one of them. He literally uncovered nothing, and the protests were already going. But this is how easy it is to take somebody who voted for Trump, who's on the right, who just does not want to live in reality, who just wants to dismiss the anger from the American people that they don't want to live in a country that is this cruel. So rather than address that, which ironically Rogan himself addressed like 2 weeks ago, he's like, this is fucked up. It's fucked up what we're doing. It's fucked up that we're not going after violent criminals. We're only going after people who are working, moms, kids. Like, we're not going after violent criminals. So Joe Rogan himself, like, already acknowledged this. I guess maybe what he can't fathom, and fair enough, somebody like Joe Rogan, he gets to speak in front of a microphone whenever he wants. He may not feel the need to protest. He probably couldn't go out there to protest. He's far too famous. It would be an absolute fucking nightmare for him and a security risk. But he acknowledged the same thing the people on the ground are acknowledging. And if you don't have a microphone, if you don't feel like you have a voice, it can be tough. It eats you up. And so you're like, I'm going to get out on the streets and I'm going to protest. And you go out there to protest, and then you see ICE doing what you've seen on the videos, and you get mad. That's a natural reaction. So for Rogan to say something like that and then come back and be like, this was just to cover up the Minnesota story. Also ignoring the fact that the Nick Shirley story broke on the day that the Epstein Files were supposed to be released, and they ignored the courts. If we're talking about a distraction, this is silly. This isn't the distraction. This is people upset, and then you also have the Epstein Files. But nobody's trying to cover up for Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley has been gone over with a fine-tooth comb. Andrew Callahan did it. He testified in front of Congress. He's been on every major right-wing podcast. We've all broken down his videos. He got more attention than the riots. So for them to say like we didn't pay attention to Nick Shirley, of course we paid attention to Nick Shirley. No, we all covered this story. Every outlet covered Nick Shirley. In fact, the riots, people stopped talking about the riots for a while to talk about Nick Shirley. And Andrew's smart enough to know that. Maybe Joe's not.
Like instantaneously afterwards, the narrative completely changes. Everybody forgets about the fraud. Now all anybody cares about is ICE and fascists and Nazis.
Yeah.
And
also, yeah, those are worse. Fascists, Nazis, that's all worse than wasting some money. So even if that was true, what, they're focusing on the more important thing?
it's there's a, you know what a color revolution is?
Of course.
And for people that don't, it's a coordinated effort to cause chaos. And this is a very coordinated thing. The idea that this is an organic...
That's not what a color revolution is. It's a color revolution is specifically supposed to be nonviolent. It's like a populist, I don't know if you'd call it like maybe an uprising. And the idea is that you overthrow like establishment or dictatorial or authoritarian regimes. It's not meant to just cause chaos.
And this is a very coordinated thing. The idea that this is an organic protest, these riots are organic, is nonsense. It's provably nonsense because now they have access to the Signal chats, so they know that these people.
These people talk to each other. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's provably not organic. I think maybe this is the disconnect. Like, we went over like how left-leaning brains think versus right-leaning brains, and people on the left are far more likely to be opposed to injustice, especially for marginalized people. So perhaps they just don't understand that there's a lot of educated people on the left. There's a lot of people who are far more rational in their thinking. They use data. They like equality because they understand, like, yeah, me being born a certain way, I don't get more than you, or I shouldn't get more than you get. They can't understand that those people would want to organize. Same people, not a peep about this with January 6th. Like, apparently January 6th wasn't an organized event, although we know, like, we can trace that money. We found the money. I think Turning Point USA spent like $700,000 on January 6th. That's how much they spent to have that there. So, like, you follow that money, you can see all those signs. Organic. This isn't inorganic because the people are talking to each other on Signal chats. That's not provable. That it's like an organic protest can also be organized.
By the way,
yes,
he's been on the front lines of this. The Crucible has been a big supporter of that effort. My channel.
The Crucible, shut the fuck up. Ty said, "Is Trump really suing the IRS for $10 billion?" Yeah, Megan, thank you for the super chat. Ty said, "Anyone join me to see Melania date canceled?" Anyone join me to see Melania date canceled? I don't know what that means.
I will often snipe his coverage while it's going on. Send my audience over to send in super chats in order to keep this guy going. I think that work is critical.
Yes.
It's critical work. And there's not that many people doing it anymore because of how dangerous it has become.
Yes.
And so I'm a big supporter of that. Doesn't mean I agree with everything you said.
So dangerous. It was so dangerous to infiltrate a group chat that talked about like how to take pictures of ICE and where to put them on a spreadsheet.
As politically, but what he's doing on the ground there needs to happen.
Right. You need to understand that this isn't organic, regardless of how you feel.
It's also important to point out that Andrew Wilson wants to end democracy. And he lies about that all the fucking time. But he also sometimes accidentally tells the truth. Andrew Wilson is a Christian nationalist who believes that the Orthodox Church should lead the country and that the laws of this country should be dictated by the Orthodox religion and ideology. You can go back and you can watch my debate with him in the Q&A. I pressed him on this, and he basically admitted it. Yeah, like, that is my position. So he's somebody who goes out there with an agenda to end democracy. And what he sees here is probably different than what Rogan sees. What he sees with these protests is people standing in the way of his church ruling the country. If you find yourself being just like a generic Christian, just know Andrew Wilson wants you to be subservient to his religion. That's his end goal. That's all of their end goal. They're well-funded. I believe they are, like me, though, they are crowdfunded, but they are very well funded. They spend a lot of money going out, demonizing women, demonizing immigrants, demonizing anybody who doesn't follow their orthodox beliefs. And no, not a question about that from Rogan. No questions on Rogan. I'm like, wait, hold on just a second. Are you anti-democratic? Are you the person who wants us to go back to a religious theocracy? No questions on that. Just, we're both conservatives, freedom-loving, gun-toting conservatives. Keep going here. Will we see Rogan talk about this? I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning if you have come out of a cult before. This sets off every cult red flag anybody could possibly have. This was tweeted out by Trump. It's today it's 2 days ago. I don't know how I missed this.
Do you remember what it was like when the 2020 election was rigged and stolen? Do you remember all the bullshit stories people told you about how the fraudulent election would be overturned? Do you remember the symbols of tyranny when fences went up around D.C. for Joe Biden's inauguration?
The symbols of tyranny? Bitch, 2 weeks before that, your people stormed the Capitol and tried to kill the vice president. It's tyranny to put up fences at the same place we just stormed.
Do you remember watching fuel and food prices skyrocket in a matter of months? Do you remember watching our borders being invaded by a virtual army of unidentified criminals? Do you remember watching our nation get systematically destroyed for 4 years by the Joe Biden autopin administration? Do you remember longing for the days of winning when we had Donald Trump in the White House? Do you remember thinking he was going to die when the bullet aimed at his brain only grazed his ear? Do you remember rejoicing after witnessing the miracle that saved his life?
I went back and I actually it's hard to find. There's not a lot of breakdowns for Butler, Pennsylvania. I did this the other day. The two people who were shot in Butler, Pennsylvania were, like, when Trump turns, they were to his right. They do like a line of sight. This shooter, in order to hit Corey Comparatore, sorry if I'm fucking that name up, and the other person who was hit, he missed by like 6 feet. Like, it wasn't even close. Not from four. He was like 400 yards away, I think is what it was. Maybe it was 400 feet away. It wasn't a long shot. And he missed by like 6 feet with two of his shots. I still don't believe this. I still don't believe this story. I believed this story. They never talk about it. There's never been a real investigation into this. They just dropped it. At the time, there were a lot of people that were claiming conspiracy, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go down that hole. It's hard to believe now with all the stuff that Donald Trump is dead set on proving. For somebody who says, like, his family is always like, the left tried to kill my dad. If you're trying to find people on the left who are doing awful things, like an assassination attempt, that's got to be at the top. Why don't they? When's the last time Trump talked about Tyler Robinson? When's the last time he talked about what was it, Thomas Crooks? These assassinations happen and we're just nothing. But like election fraud that we've already covered. We're going to spend all our time on that. We're going to sue the IRS. An ear gets hit by a 30-06 round, just gets a nick. Ever seen a 30-06 round? You ever seen it go through anything? There's no chance it nicks you and leaves a little tiny mark like that. Could have been shrapnel. Could have been staged. Trump's a big fan of WWE. Everybody knows in WWE, people go down, they cut their own ear, they cut their own face with a razor blade or whatever. They've been doing that for decades. Whatever it is, it's bizarre that they don't talk about it, but let's keep going because this gets darker.
Do you remember rejoicing after witnessing the miracle that saved his life? Do you remember celebrating the epic landslide victory in November of 2024? This is what you hoped for. This is what you prayed for. This is what you voted for. So why are you questioning every decision he makes?
This is for his own people. This isn't for us. This is for Alex Jones. Why are you questioning the decisions he makes? Let's hear that again.
This is what you voted for. So why are you questioning every decision he makes now that he's back in office? God didn't save his life so he could make mistakes. He knows what he's doing. Maybe it's time to shut the fuck up and let him cook. This has been a public service announcement paid for by the Dilly Meme team.
It's a crazy thing to repost. Don't question authority. Like, we've been calling you cucks. We've been calling you bootlickers. And Trump's instructing you, be a fucking bootlicker. Shut the fuck, literally, shut the fuck up. Why are you questioning me? Shut the fuck up. That's what your president wants you to know, MAGA. So for everybody that's here that still supports Donald Trump, shut the fuck up. Okay? We're going to need you to shut the fuck up. Follow instructions. I was in a cult. We weren't even that, it wasn't that overt. At least there was like some sort of workaround, like, hey, remember, this guy talks to God and we don't always know what God's up to. So listen to him. This is good advice. Pray about it on your own. See if you come to the same conclusion. This isn't even that. This is, hey, Joe Biden bad. Remember how they tried to shoot me? God saved me. Everybody prayed. This is what you prayed for. So now that you prayed for this, don't ask questions. Shut the fuck up. And the people that he's showing in that video, what are they mostly questioning? Why is he covering up the Epstein Files? That's mostly what they're saying. Why in the world are they covering this up? Seems like maybe he was part of that. That's terrifying. Sebastian, do I need to play that video? Why are you so mad? That's what I just showed you the video. I can send it to you. I'm mad because Trump tells you guys to operate like a cult, and then you do it, and then you're like, we're not in a cult. Ainsley said, appreciate the work and time you put in. Thank you, Ainsley. Sarah, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. And Swish said, shush, she's just quiet support. Thank you. God and Satan didn't even want Trump. Yeah. Somebody asked about this, but it is true. The Trump administration is suing the IRS for $10 billion for leaking a document while he was president, and a document that he promised to release that he refused to release. So he promised all of you he was going to do something. He wasn't going to do it because he didn't want anybody to see his tax returns. And we know why now, because he's a tax cheat. And once we got his tax returns and we saw them in court, it turns out like, oh, yeah, holy shit, this guy's a fucking criminal. That's why he didn't want him out there. So now the failure of his first administration in keeping his tax records private, now he is suing the federal government for $10 billion for releasing something he promised to release. It's a timeline we're in here. Is this America first? What are you guys getting out of this? That's 10 billion in taxpayer money going into his pocket. He's only made $1.5 billion this year off the presidency. Why not give him 10 billion more? There it is. You're dem are dumb. Thank you. That's a funny part you think is bad. The rest of America knows is great. What's great? It's great that Donald Trump is telling you guys to shut the fuck up and obey blindly. Yeah, I do hate that. I do hate that. But I also hate that you exist as a human being and you don't know how to fact check anything. Things are not going well. The economy is not going well. Housing prices not going well. The only thing that's down is oil because it's crashing. And that's because Donald Trump handed off our oil policy to OPEC. And then once this crash is done, then OPEC will skyrocket prices and our oil prices will jump again. And they'll probably do it. They'll probably just hold on to that until after the midterms if Democrats win or after Trump is out of office. They're just going to do him a favor. So no, not even under his control. They're just manipulating gas prices on purpose so that Trump can look good and so that you'll ignore everything else. So he's telling you to shut up. He's suing our government for $10 billion. Now he's now he's arresting journalists as well. Axe said 3 cases of measles and counting in Florida. We don't need any fucking vaccines. Great job, Maha. That's a good point. Bringing back diseases. Make America diseased again. There's a statement from Don Lemon's attorney. For the record, the sign of an authoritarian regime, the sign of the end of democracy in virtually every country has been arresting journalists. That's what Russia did. It's what they did in El Salvador. Any authoritarian regime does this. What they did in Venezuela. It's what they've done in Argentina. It's what Erdogan did. It's what Netanyahu didn't arrest him. He just killed him. Netanyahu's killed, is it 15 plus journalists now that have died? It's what they did to Jamal Khashoggi. Remember when they killed Jamal Khashoggi and Trump didn't do a goddamn thing about that? Just let it happen because those people were paying him. Now we're arresting journalists. For what? Journalists cover crimes all the time. Journalists go into dangerous places all the time. There were journalists on January 6th. There have been journalists during the violent times of the BLM protests. There were journalists during the crimes that occurred at CHOP. That's what journalists do. Don Lemon covered people going into a church. It's what he's supposed to do. It's not a crime. It's not supposed to be a crime. The press is supposed to be free. Abe Lowell, his attorney, said Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in L.A., where he was covering the Grammy Awards. Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work. Now, for the record, I'm not a fan of Don Lemon. I don't know how important that journalism that he did was. I don't know how important Don Lemon's journalism is all of the time. He should be allowed to do it. At a time when Nick Shirley is a hero and he's trespassing into children's daycares and no arrest. He actually committed a crime. No arrest, no charges. Minnesota could have went after him if they wanted to. Local police could have gone after him if they wanted to. They didn't. Because they believe in a free press, even when that free press is against them. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, which our Department of Justice refuses to do, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest. And that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. What the fuck are we doing? I'm sick. Bro, this honestly, it is, it is like PTSD from leaving the cult, only this is far more serious. But when I left my cult, the same cult that you guys all would agree is a cult unless you're Mormon yourself, it's what they all said to me too. In fact, there's I don't remember that dipshit's name. He makes videos about me all the time on TikTok. I forget his name. He claims to be super rich. What is his at? I can't remember what it is. He's a Mormon. He made a video about me the other day. Because on my stream with Nick Shirley, I talked about how Nick Shirley believes in polygamy, but was criticizing Muslims who believe in polygamy. And I just thought that was ironic, and I thought it was deceitful that he sat up there on a camera and was like, no, my church doesn't believe in polygamy, when they absolutely do. And the response was, dude, you're just a hater. Just shut up. You just hate the Mormons. He committed civil rights violations. No, he didn't. You just heard somebody say that, so you repeated it. No, he didn't. Multiple attorneys quit and resigned rather than be part of this. They know what this is. Everybody knows what this is. This is fascism. This is authoritarianism. And I respect that you like what Trump is doing. I respect that you have that right to vote for somebody like Donald Trump, but you don't have the right to change the definition of these words. And so we're going to use them regularly. You are fascist. There is no delineation between you and the Nazis at this point. Trump's a year in. Think of Hitler a year in. The only thing I'd say is that Trump is actually moving faster. Will it end in a genocide? I don't know. I sure as shit hope not. I hope that there's enough people that would be like, nah, we can't just genocide a bunch of people. But I don't have faith. As of now, though, no difference. Except for that perhaps it's happening faster. And the other difference between you and Nazi sympathizers and Nazi citizens of Germany is your access to information. They didn't have the same access to information. They couldn't turn on their, pull up their phone and watch 50 people a day's rights being violated. You do have that. So it's a little bit more pathetic when you folks do it. Because you have the information to know what's going on, and you have the ability to figure out whether or not this stuff is lawful, and you refuse to do it in loyalty to Donald Trump. And so I just say, like, I think that's a pathetic existence that you're living. And again, history will remember you as cowards. And for everybody who's not following, like everybody who still shows up every day, everybody who's posting, who's protesting, who's talking to their friends and family, using whatever voice you have to fight against this, like, God bless you. History will remember you well. History will remember you as people who did not get wrapped up in ideological team games, and you saw clearly through the shit, and you stood up when people's rights were being violated. And so to all of you who show up every day, thank you. It keeps me showing up, and I do believe good wins always. I think that historically that always happens. The good guys just tend to win. But he wasn't alone. There's a second journalist. Her name was Georgia Fort. I was unaware of her. She apparently was also there, and she live streamed the DOJ showing up at her house to arrest her.
Agents are at my door right now. They're saying that.
Let's see real quick. Empathy said Shirley was brought into a House committee and praised. Yeah. He came off pretty dumb in that House committee. He said a lot of things that weren't true, but they don't really nobody seems to care that what Nick Shirley says isn't true. They just like that he's saying it, and it makes Dems look bad.
Agents are at my door right now. They're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours, and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised.
And he's white. Good point.
To go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here. They're impacted by this. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media. We are supposed to have our constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press because now federal agents are at my door arresting me. Agents are at my door right now.
Those are saying, like, do the people at the church have the right to protest? Yeah, or I mean to freedom of worship. Yep. Did the people who went into that church break the law? Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look. But historically, when people are breaking the law and journalists record them, the journalists have the right to record them because they're recording news. They're reporting on a crime. If it's a crime, all they did was report on it. So if you want to arrest the people that were there, and by the way, I don't remember the woman's name who was doing most of the speaking. She was arrested. She has been charged. And then they tried to keep her in jail, saying she was a flight risk because she left her house and was staying in a hotel. She was staying in a hotel because she got doxxed and people were threatening her life. I don't mind that they go after the people that went into that church to protest. That's fine. If they broke the law, they broke the law. But the journalists covering it didn't break the law. And this is just a threat to journalists everywhere. Hey, careful what you record. Careful what you report. If we don't like it, we're going to find some way to arrest you. Now, Don Lemon will not be convicted of anything, and either will Georgia Fort. There's zero chance they're being convicted on anything. And what will happen to MAGA is once they're not convicted, MAGA will call the judge or the jury a radical judge. They'll somehow figure out a way that the trial was unfair and that the whole system is rigged because you've already decided they committed a crime. But does anybody want to tell me what crime you think it is that they committed? Like they say civil rights. Again, like the civil rights law, the Klan Act, that was for people disrupting churches. So that would be the protesters. No, nobody's ever been arrested using the Klan Act for reporting on the people who trespass. By the way, trespassing, you keep saying trespassing, Joe, that's a specific crime. So when you are trespassing, and a church is usually open, right? So in order to be trespassed from a church, you have to go in and they have to say, you're gone. If you come back, you will be charged with trespassing. You can't be charged like the first time, generally speaking, in a place like that that's open. Maybe there's some statute locally that is different, but Jesus fucking Christ, the DOJ is not the one who prosecutes trespassing. I just said what it was. Yeah. So they won't be found guilty, but it is an alarming step that this administration is willing to take in order to threaten journalists, and a direct attack on the First Amendment. Said I've heard people say the FACE Act. Let's read the FACE Act. I think we covered it the day it came up, but I don't remember what the FACE Act is. Let's pull that up. Freedom of access to clinic entrances. There's the actual law. Let's see if I can get the actual law instead of. Here it is. Special litigation services also enforces the civil provisions of the Freedom of Access of Clinics Entrances Act. Here we go. It prohibits whoever by force or threat of force or by physical obstruction intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person because that person is or has been in order to intimidate such person or any other person or any class of persons from obtaining or providing reproductive health services. Or what were they doing in that church? So with the same thing, like by force or threat of force, they interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise their First Amendment rights of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. But again, Don Lemon's just reporting on it, so he's not there trying to interfere. Intentionally damages or destroys the property of a place of religious worship. Didn't do that. And what are the penalties here? In the case of a first offense, be fined. So it's a fine, or imprisons not more than 1 year, or both. Case of second, subsequent offense, which we don't have to worry about. In general, any person aggrieved by reason of the conduct prohibited may commence a civil action for the relief set forth in the paragraph. Yeah, that's for, I think, damages. Yeah. Suck my ass, Magnetic Man. When you tell me not to curse, I curse more. Toughen up, snowflake. All right, so I don't think it's going to be the FACE Act. But let's talk about more attacks here. And how complicit Republicans are in all of this. Trump put this out. We've talked about this briefly, but he said, the great state of Utah, a place I love and won big in 2016, 2020, and 24, sent 4 terrific Republicans to Congress, and we want to keep it that way. A very important effort is underway in Utah to repeal Proposition 4, make map drawing accountable to Utah voters, stop radical leftist judges, and keep Utah red. Okay, here's what happened in Utah. Utah is gerrymandered. Incredibly gerrymandered. And they passed a proposition, the voters, by the way, when he says like we want to make map drawing accountable to Utah voters. The voters voted that they could not trust their own legislature, and so you needed to have independent maps being drawn, and they cannot be gerrymandered. Well, then the Utah legislature is just like, yeah, we're just going to ignore that, and we're going to create a very gerrymandered map. And so they sued the state, and a judge ruled that they could not use the gerrymandered map, and instead they accepted a non-gerrymandered map. And now that gave a new seat in Utah for Democrats. It's going to be a blue seat. So the will of the people was actually listened to in Utah, and the state legislature decided to change what the people voted for. And now Trump and the Republicans are pretending that there has been some miscarriage of justice because of a radical leftist judge. The judge who ruled on this, not even close to a radical leftist judge. But they did this with, like, when they did the marijuana legislation too. A good friend of mine ran that legislation. I helped out a little bit. I basically did nothing, but I was out there. And on the ground, what they were telling me is that they would meet with the legislature and they would negotiate. They would meet with the Mormon Church and negotiate, because they had to meet with the Mormon Church because the Mormon Church controls everything in Utah. And the legislature was like, cool, we're good. They put in this proposition. They set all the laws. The voters vote on it. It passed overwhelmingly. And as soon as it went into the legislature, they changed all the rules. They're able to just go in and mark it up. And they made it inaccessible to regular people. And only wealthy people who they liked could actually own dispensaries. They set all these weird rules, and they made sure that the dispensaries were owned by conservative adjacent people. So Utah does this all the time. Then they had to go out and they had to, in order to repeal this, they have to get signatures, and they need, I want to say it's like, they need a certain amount, like a third of the voters in every county need to sign this petition. And it's by county, so you can't just get a bunch of people in one county and call it good. You need a third of the voters in each county to have signatures in order to repeal this. And what the repeal is that they'll just give it to the state legislature. Not that the people will get to vote on it, that it'll go back to the state legislature, and they'll be able to draw maps with no input from anybody. So the Republicans hired all these people, including Scott Pressler. You may remember, he's the long-haired dude that was in Pennsylvania. He loves Elon Musk. He's probably most famous for filming a sex tape at the RNC headquarters. Got stripped of his role after that, but then Elon Musk took him under his wing, and now he's like this hero. So they brought him in, and they're paying people. I asked a friend. He said, I don't know exactly what everybody's paying, but it's between $10 and $15 per signature. So the GOP, Republican Party, is paying $10 to $15 per signature collected, and they've flown in all these people from out of state to go get signatures. And when people are going up to ask, a friend of mine named Nina, she went out. She works for, I don't know what she does for work actually, but she's on the board with Planned Parenthood. She was just at Costco, and she saw somebody filling out or getting signatures, and she went up and she just asked them, and they just lied. They're all lying. They're all going out there saying the exact opposite, that the Utah state legislature took the votes away from the people, and this radical judge took the votes away from the people. So you have to repeal this proposition that the people voted for in order to give the power back to the people. So they're just lying on all of this. And Trump is too. He's just pushing that. Utahns deserve maps drawn by those they elect, not rogue judges or left-wing activists. Well, Utahns voted that they didn't want maps drawn by the people they elect, that they wanted other people to draw the maps because the Utah legislature could not be trusted. So this is overturning the will of the people and lying to do it. I encourage all patriotic Utahns, Republicans, and MAGA supporters who love their great state and country to sign this initiative ASAP. You must sign by February 15th. Let me show you the actual maps. So here is the map that the members of Congress drew, and this is what gerrymandering looks like. So right here in this blue spot where my mouse is, that's Salt Lake City. And this is the most populated part of Utah. You have Salt Lake City, Utah County, and Davis County up here. And you'll see that, like, Salt Lake is blue. They've had Democrat mayors for a very long time. You also have this area that's blue, but this is like Moab. There's almost nobody that lives here. And so what they did when they drew the map, as you can see, every single district got a small portion of Salt Lake County, and then this is, I can't remember if it's Iron County, I can't remember, this is where Park City is, also a liberal. Each district got a little piece. It is a 5-hour drive from Salt Lake to St. George down in this corner, and for some reason, this district gets a chunk of Salt Lake. Utah County gets a chunk. So they gerrymandered the fuck out of this to make sure they only had 4 seats, and that those 4 seats would always go red. So obviously, like, Salt Lake County had a problem with that. You can look here. That's not the one. Let me go back. They have more than enough population. They absolutely, if they want to be represented accurately, they should have their own district. And that's basically what the judge decided, that you are taking away the will of these people. This was from 2022. This was the congressional elections in Utah. You can see the blue here. And this is Salt Lake County. So in District 1, there were 178,000 Republican votes. District 2, over here, 158,000. District 3, there were 182,000. District 4, 155,000. And Salt Lake, just by itself, Salt Lake County had 186,000 people voting for Democrats. There were more people voting for Democrats in that county than any other district, just a county. And so obviously they needed to split up that vote so that they could keep it red. And the judge ruled that this is silly. It's absolutely silly for a county here who votes blue in every election, basically, and they're represented by Democrats, to not be able to have a national representative. So that's why they changed the map. And then let's see, do I have the new map? Find the new Utah map. Sorry, I should have that. And so they changed it to this, which obviously is far more fair. So they made D1 here, which is Salt Lake, and they made that its own district, which has the same population as these other districts, roughly, and that's going to go blue. And we just can't have that in the age of Trump. Trump needs to control the electorate, and he needs to be able to gerrymander. Salt Lake is blue because it absorbed Californian refugees. Yeah, it's been blue my whole life. Most of the California refugees, not a lot of Salt Lake. You have a lot down here in Utah County and then out west. But no, that's nonsense. They're blue because they're a big city and there's diversity there. And anywhere you have diversity is blue. Anywhere where everybody's white is red. That's how that's always worked in Utah. I appreciate people just guessing on Utah politics here, though. Anyways. So just more anti-democracy stuff. We're arresting journalists. We're suing the president's trying to get $10 billion of your taxpayer money into his own pocket because he didn't want to tell you guys what was on his taxes. And so he's just like, I get $10 billion. Not a peep from you. Not a fucking peep from any of you. That's fine. Let's give all of our taxpayer money to him. Does he want my children too? He could have my children if he wants. Empathy. I got that one. Thank you very much. Christy said the happenings in Minnesota are not riots. They are protests. Don't call them riots. That adds to their narrative. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I keep saying it. I hear it so much because I consume so much right-wing media that I wind up saying it. I often slip and say it with like BLM too. But you're right. They're not riots. There are occasional acts of violence, mostly by ICE, occasionally from protesters. But you're right about that. So thanks for the reminder on that. Now, here's the next bit of corruption that we're going to see. You guys are familiar with Sam Bankman-Fried? Sam Bankman-Fried he ran FTX. It was a crypto trading company, and he ran a massive Ponzi scheme, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes ever. And he got arrested. He got convicted. And when he got convicted and when this all fell apart, people lost hundreds of millions of dollars. It caused Silicon Valley Bank to collapse. And now he's clearly angling for a pardon. This was a thread that he put up. Why I became a Republican in 2022. 2 months before the collapse of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried walked into a restaurant in D.C. for a meeting with Mitch McConnell. They both wanted to be there, of course. McConnell had no idea he was there. It was in the final sprint of fundraising for the 2022 midterms, in which Republicans had found themselves outgunned in the Senate, and SBF, seeking a more sympathetic ear for his financial and personal pet projects, was pivoting that autumn hard to the right. Why do you think that is? He said, I grew up in a liberal household and gave $5 million to the Dems in 2020. In 2022, I gave tens of millions to Republicans. What he does leave out is he also gave $5 million to Republicans in 2020. In fact, if you go through his court documents, he says, what was remarkable is that as I was trying to get people to run cover for me, I found out how easy it is to bribe politicians. I was alarmed at how little money it took for me to get politicians to do what I wanted them to do. These are all in court documents. He was not partisan. He wasn't a Republican. He wasn't a Democrat. He was a con man who just was bribing both sides of the aisle. Saturday said, there's a protest in Prescott at the courthouse tomorrow. I'm going. You should too. I wish. I got my daughter tomorrow, or I'd love to. He said Biden bungled crypto. He didn't have to. Plenty in the party had reasonable thoughts, but he chose Gensler for the SEC chair. And when he says bungled crypto, what he means is Biden thinks that crypto and Gensler thinks that crypto should be traded as a security, meaning that just like you're protected when you trade stocks from scams, or you're supposed to be, crypto should be the same thing. People shouldn't just be allowed to easily scam you. And these cryptocurrencies should be listed as securities, and they should be traded as such, and they should be regulated. So Biden, he says, bungled crypto because he wanted to regulate it and stop the scams, which Sam Bankman-Fried was in the process of committing at the time. So naturally, Biden would be his enemy. He's like, hey, I want to do these scams. They said Trump's right on crypto. Yeah, another scammer. We don't have to get into that. Trump's made billions of dollars with 2 crypto scams and World Liberty Financial, which acts as a competitor to the United States currency, which is treasonous on its face. It's a scam at least. Then he said Biden bungled COVID. Also, insane Dem woke policies. Now, this is just fucking bullshit. First of all, Sam Bankman-Fried has friends that are trans. He had LGBTQ friends. They had like weird sex stuff going on in their group of people. They had sex parties. Like, this is not a person who is anti-woke. He just knows what sells. And he wrote this thread for Donald Trump. This is his way of trying to get a pardon from Donald Trump. He said, I started donating to Republicans after witnessing the Dems on crypto, but it wasn't just crypto. Here's an example of a meeting that for sure totally fucking happened. Moderator, what's your COVID policy, Dem governor? Make sure all state agencies hire mentally handicapped employees. Me, huh? Yeah, that's why he's saying this. He doesn't even mean this. He's angling for a pardon. This isn't who Sam Bankman-Fried was. He knows. He just has to say. And people have said, like, it's all you have to do is blow smoke up Trump's ass, give him a little money. He said the Biden politicized the DOJ, and then here's the good. Here it goes. The bullshit indictments on Trump. Oh yeah, let's listen to a convicted criminal who called his indictments bullshit. Threatening defendants' wives. What the fuck was this? What was a threatening defendants' wives? Oh, Alameda? Oh, from his? Oh, okay. From his prosecution. Okay. Arresting people for the CCP. You know what that is? This image here. Oh yeah. Other crypto fraudsters that Trump has now pardoned. They politicized it. Like Trump at this time, by the way, Trump wasn't pro-crypto. Trump didn't become pro-crypto till like 2023. So all this time that it was politicized, like crypto wasn't political until 2023, 2024. It wasn't something that we were divided on politically. Thankfully, and in fact, Donald Trump said crypto was a scam in his first administration. He called it a scam. He said, I don't like it. I don't like anything that competes with the dollar, until he found out he could make money on it. And then he switched his opinion. But notice he didn't call Trump a politicized DOJ for arresting crypto scammers during his first run. When Trump administration arrested crypto scammers, they prosecuted these people all the time. Thankfully, Trump pardoned the guy framed by the narcos and arrested an actual narco dictator. He's talking about that Hernandez was framed by narcos, even though Hernandez is like on the record saying, I'm going to pump America full of drugs. But yeah, for sure, he was framed. All the world leaders I met were fed up with Biden with the hypocrisy and condescension of the Dems. Oh, there it is. The whole world didn't respect Biden. They were fed up. Stop drilling for oil. Then why is oil so expensive? Biden's DOJ put a gag order on me in 2023. Yeah, because you were lying to the public about your crimes. The Dems may control trad media, but they don't control the truth. He's probably going to get a pardon. That shit's going to work. There's already Republicans out there openly saying he should be pardoned. He cost people hundreds of millions of dollars. He destroyed people's life savings. He destroyed people's lives. People lost their houses. They lost their marriages. They lost their family. People committed suicide. That's what he cost. And he's probably going to get a pardon because he's blowing smoke up Trump's ass, and he's going to give him a couple $1 million. And I think it's $11 billion that he owes. And that'll probably be wiped out. And we won't hear a peep from any of you. And you'll still tell us about Minnesota. The number of Minnesota for fraud is $9 billion. And that's a gassed up number. It's not going to come anywhere near $9 billion. But how can you care about $9 billion and not $11 billion? Because in Minnesota, they don't blow smoke up Trump's ass. Sam Bankman-Fried does, so nobody's going to care. We got that. Did we get the crypto bros upset here today? Trump organization still had to make payroll. That's why they were. Dude, don't just quote Eric Trump. Look something up. The Trump organization has 0 times ever used crypto to pay their payroll. That has never happened. Trump got debanked by one bank. He had other options. They went to a different bank, a Russian bank. Weird. And they debanked him because he tried to overthrow the government. And they're like, hey, we probably, that's a crime, so we probably can't keep banking with them. They do that with all criminals. If you get caught committing a crime, banks separate from you because they don't want to be held. That's a risk for them. So they're like, take your money, get out of here. They didn't even freeze it, by the way. They literally, and because of the Biden dumbass constitutional prosecution, it had nothing to do with the prosecution. This was long before Trump was prosecuted for that crime. It was the bank chose to do it. Why don't you guys ever fact check anything that these people say? How come you just show up and repeat shit that you've heard? You do that every day. All right. One more thing before we get here. Just a reminder that Donald Trump has made $1.48 billion. He has stolen. He's committed 2 obvious crypto crimes with 2 pump and dump schemes in the Trump coin and the Melania coin. He's created a competitor to the United States currency, and that most of the money he's made from World Liberty Financial has come from foreign investors. And most of those foreign investors give him money, and then they get access to goods from the United States, like NVIDIA chips, for example, weapons, for example. So Trump has used his position as president to say, you want what Americans are selling? Kick me $2 billion, would you? Yeah, we'll send you $2 billion. Then it sits in World Liberty Financial, raises the price of his coin. He picks up a percentage on that, pockets a couple $100 million. Nobody gives a shit. But Hunter Biden, we should have worried about who bought his paintings, right? This is really cool. This is from New York Times. I love how they put this together. 1 year ago, Donald Trump took an oath to serve the American people. Instead, he is focused on using the presidency to enrich himself. Q in the chat, New York Times. $1.4085 billion. That's where we're at now. Trump's never been a man to ask what he can do for his country in his second term, as in his first. He instead is testing the limits of what his country can do for him. He's poured his energy and creativity into the exploitation of his presidency, into finding out just how much money people, corporations, and other nations are willing to put in his pockets in hopes of bending the power of the government to the service of their interests. A review by the editorial board relying on analysis from news organizations show that Trump has used the office of the presidency to make at least $1.4 billion. Now, that's at least. That's what they can track. A lot of this stuff's impossible to track. So this is only what they can actually track and verify. $1.4 billion. The Trumps have made at least $23 million from licensing Trump's name overseas since his reelection. $23 million since he's been reelected just on licensing fees, just using his name. A hotel in Oman, an office tower in Western India, a golf course on the outskirts of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. these are more than a few of the 20 overseas projects the Trump organization is pursuing. What's up, Jen?
Hey, I'm going to call out Alfred in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
Alfred, you're not calling anybody. How this works, if you want to come up and talk, is you message me on Discord. My Discord username is the same as the Venmo username. Jen with 2 N's, W with 2 B's, the number 1. You send me a message on Discord and I bring you up. You saying that no one's answering your phone call? You're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You haven't messaged me. I bring people up all the time. That's how you do it. So send me a message on Discord, and then I connect you. That's how that works. So that's all.
Thanks, Jen. This guy Fox said, crypto bros should be mad. Crypto is lower today than when Trump took office. True, but Trump's made a bunch. Somebody said, well, he's not allowed to license his name. Of course he's allowed to license his name, but historically, presidents divest of their business interests. And the only reason that these licensing agreements are happening, because they don't want Trump. They're not his hotels. It's his name. It's a trade. They're giving him money for favors. So they're influencing foreign policy by giving Trump these deals. Again, we're talking about the people who funded 9/11, the people who murdered Jamal Khashoggi. Countries that for my entire life, well, I guess since 2001, have been funding terrorism. And those countries are giving Donald Trump licensing deals right now so that they can influence foreign policy. You know that this is what Trump does, because every time he goes to make a trade deal, he tries to get them to funnel money to him. And the countries that aren't corrupt aren't giving him any money, but the corrupt countries are. And so now all of our allies are these very, very corrupt countries who will stab us in the back the second they have the opportunity. As soon as they have any chance to stab us in the back, they will. If a president comes in and doesn't want to play games with them, doesn't want to take bribes, they will stab us in the back. So now we've got a precedent where whoever we elect can do whatever the fuck they want. They can sell foreign policy. And you guys can't say shit about it ever again. If let's just say Eric Adams ran as a Democrat and then entered the office and just started taking bribes from foreign countries, and you guys are like, look at these corrupt Democrats. Now you don't have a leg to stand on. I mean, look, if you think what Hunter Biden did was bad, $0 of the money that Hunter Biden made were ever proven to get back to Joe Biden. And you still think Joe Biden should have been impeached and removed and should be in jail. This money is going directly to Donald Trump, and you can track the money coming in and the favor he does for them in return. You can track the quid pro quo. I'm trying to remember what I think it was Qatar. Somebody can correct me on this. I think, or maybe it was UAE. One of them needed NVIDIA chips, and they couldn't get them because we had trade barriers. And they bought $2 billion worth of World Liberty Financial, which is Trump's coin, where he gets a percentage of that purchase. And a week later, they got access to the chips. You can watch the corruption happen in real time. And good Lord, like, I don't even know, like, bootlickers isn't strong enough. Like, you're sucking his dick and it's flaccid. And then you're like, it's hard and I love it. I don't understand what the fuck happened to all you guys. Like, he's not doing a goddamn thing for you. And you're just, yeah, this is fine. This is totally fine. Let's keep going here. Each stack of these bills, each one, represents the median household income in the United States. So this is where we're at so far. Each one of these is the total income for a United States citizen, the median per year. And this is so far what Donald Trump has made off the presidency by taking bribes. Just in this article, that's where we're at now. This pile's going to get a lot bigger. Trumps are pocketing $28 million from Amazon for a documentary about Melania Trump. I'm old enough to remember people freaking the fuck out when the Obamas got a Netflix deal. And so rightfully so. Anybody who didn't criticize Obama for the Netflix deal probably can't criticize the Trumps for the Amazon deal. But if you are somebody who criticized Obama for taking Netflix money and you're silent now and you won't admit it, but you cucky little bitch. You cucky fucking little bitch. If you are somebody who talked about Hunter Biden and you are silent now, you cucky little bitch. Amazon paid far more for the rights to Melania than the next highest bidder, and far more than the company has previously paid for similar projects, according to the Wall Street Journal. Bezos, Amazon's chairman and one of the world's richest people, has many reasons to curry favor with this administration, including antitrust regulation, getting rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which now we're not protected by anymore. Amazon has defense contracts and space companies' federal contracts. Yeah. We'll overpay for a documentary about a first lady that literally nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody's seeing the movie. Nobody gives a fuck about Melania. She's never around. She hates Donald Trump. She has a boyfriend on the side, allegedly, so I don't get arrested. Allegedly has a boyfriend on the side. Nobody cares about Melania, and they just overpaid for it. No, it couldn't have to do with the government contracts. Couldn't. Remember when Jeff Bezos was on the stage? You know, look at that stage when Trump was inaugurated. It was all the billionaire class. It was all the oligarchs. And when that happened, we told you, we were watching it. We're like, this is who he's going to do things for. He's going to help them, not you, them. We're a year in. He hasn't done a fucking thing for you. He has made all of your lives more difficult. Not one fucking thing for you. Holy Christ, they have gotten richer, though. The value of the dollar slides. More Americans are in debt than when he took office. People are struggling to pay their bills now more than when he took office, but the rich have gotten substantially richer. And a lot of it off the backs of government contracts. So all they needed to do was bribe Trump for the government contracts. Isn't that the claim that you guys are making about Ilhan Omar with no evidence, by the way? And Tim Walz, Tim Walz got paid off in Minnesota. He took bribes. You can't even connect the money to Walz or Ilhan Omar, and you're certain that they took bribes. But Trump does it in your face, and you're like, nah, dude. I would never believe that about Donald Trump. Major tech and media companies have paid Trump $90.5 million in settlements since his reelection. Settlements. Didn't win the cases. Trump wasn't going to win these cases. He just went to the social media companies and said, I can make your life hell. I can regulate the fuck out of you. Give me money. And they gave him money. That stack's piling up now, isn't it? Once again, each one of these represents the average American's total yearly income. He doesn't take a salary. Cool. That's 5 of these. Here we go. Take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what did he do? Did he earn this money? Is this earned? Is this earned to go to tech companies and be like, give me money? Give me money or I'm going to make your life hell. No, he didn't earn that money. That had nothing to do with his business. The only reason he gets this money is because he's president. He tried to get this money after he lost, and he didn't get it. Every lawsuit failed. He didn't win a single lawsuit. People only settled with him after he won the presidency. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, fine. We'll give you money. Here you go. CBS, we'll hand you some money. It's cheaper for them to just give him the money than to litigate it. So, of course, like it was never about fairness. It was never about the law. It was about Trump lining his pockets. The settlements have come from X, ABC News, Meta, YouTube, Paramount. None of them were justified on the merits. Paramount, for example, agreed to pay the president $16 million for what he claimed was the deceptive editing of the Kamala Harris interview. At the same time, Fox News edited out his segment about releasing the Epstein Files. No lawsuit from Harris, no lawsuit from anybody, because in America, the press has the right to say what they want to say. You can't sue them unless it's for defamation or libel. And even then, it's fucking hard. You cannot sue somebody and win that lawsuit for editing down an answer. That every interview is edited down. The editing was normal part of journalism. 3 weeks later, the FCC approved an $8 billion merger with Skydance. Oh, you don't say. Oh, you don't say. Now, in this country, we have monopoly laws. And the federal government is supposed to make sure that monopolies don't exist, because when monopolies exist, people lose their rights, especially in fucking media, especially in media. And so Trump's like, hey, bitches, guess what? I'm the president now. Give me some money. Also, I'm going to put some people on your board, and you have to be nice to me now. I'm going to force you to say nice things about me on the news. 16 million right in his pocket. Doesn't get that money if he's not president. Boy, that's piling up. Qatar gave Trump a $400 million jet that he will use as Air Force One while president, and plans to take with him after leaving office. A jet. A fucking jet. We investigated Hunter Biden over a loan he took from his dad for like $80,000 that he paid back. And you guys wanted Biden and his son thrown in jail for that. $400 million jet from the Qataris? That's fine. It's no big deal. Trump seemed to acknowledge that the gift would influence his treatment to Qatar. We're going to protect this country, he said in Doha shortly after. Trump has said he expects to transfer the plane to his presidential library after leaving office. Yeah, meaning he just like can't sell it, probably. But he can just keep using it. Trumps have made at least $867 million through cryptocurrencies, including 2 scam cryptocurrency pump and dumps, 2 of them. $867 million. Only because he's president. He launched them 2 days before he became president. World Liberty Financial was in existence before that, like a year before, and they had basically made zero money. As soon as he becomes president, money poured in. But yeah, Tim Walz, right? Tim Walz that you have no money tied to. For sure, it's Tim Walz is the problem. Ilhan Omar's, she's corrupt, but not Trump. Trump's sale of crypto has been by far his biggest moneymaker. People who hope to influence federal policy, including foreigners, can buy his family's coins, effectively transferring money to the Trump, and the deals are often secret. One that has become public, I was right, UAE-backed investment firm announced plans to deposit $2 billion into a Trump firm 2 weeks before the president gave the country access to advanced chips. These people have been these people have backed terrorist groups, and now we're going to give them our most advanced chips. Why don't we give them to China? China's the enemy. Oh, did China? Last I checked, China was the ones attacking us. All told, Trump has profited from his return to the presidency by an amount of money equal to 16,822 times the median U.S. household income. But he doesn't take a presidential salary. You can read the rest of that if you want. That's from the New York Times. Probably, like, honestly, what the fuck are we doing? You have to understand this is pathetic. You've got to figure out what you're doing. There's no way you're sitting here watching this and going like, yeah, this is totally above board. There's no fucking way. And when you ask, good question, Debbie, how is that not illegal? It is illegal. But they've taken everybody who investigates these crimes off of these. The FBI doesn't investigate these types of crimes anymore. Trump owns the Department of Justice. Nobody can investigate him. Now, you can't charge him for a crime because he's the sitting president. You can charge him later, but you could charge his family. You could impeach him. So he's the only president ever to, while in office, make money off the job. He's the only one. You can watch it in real time, and Republicans just thumbs up their assholes. We're gonna pretend that we don't see this. Lee said the people in Minneapolis are heroes. Agreed. Kelly said they did similar in Ohio. They put a gerrymandering ban on the ballot, but Republicans told everyone it would allow Democrats to draw the districts instead of an independent group. Sorry I was late on that, but true. Thank you for that. Just give me do we have MAGA here still? Like, can you guys give me an explanation for this? Johnny said, daily, I also love watching my non-racist daughter meet other kids and gives me hope for the future. Thanks, John. I don't know. That one's not. That one didn't show up for me, Johnny. I don't know why that only went to Chan. Oh, maybe it's because it went to Venmo. I don't know, Johnny. Don't know what to tell you, man. I don't see it on my screen anywhere. Sorry that was late on you. Did we get an answer from that from any of the MAGA people? Or did you guys just bounce?
That's a Venmo I'd sent earlier.
Okay, thank you. What do you mean Trump never said he was keeping the plane? He said it was going to go to his presidential library. That's what he said. That's what I said. Do we have one? I support Trump. I know. Jesus. I just hope to God there's not more of you. It's so frustrating to watch you guys. You all went radio silent right now. Well, I've run most of you off. Most of the time we talk about Trump, the audience grows. Not today. They don't really know how to do anything with this. This is too hard to defend. I'm going to go somewhere else. All right. Let me skip through this. Skip through that. I want to get to Fulton County. What's happening in Fulton County? Yeah. This is what I think. This is an Atlantic article. Thanks, Britt, for sending this to me. Let me drop that down here. But this is what I think. We don't have answers yet from the Trump administration, so we're kind of taking guesses here. But it seems to be that they think that this debunked conspiracy theory, and when I say debunked, I mean like actually debunked, that Nicolas Maduro is going to prove the 2020 election was stolen is what they're doing now. First of all, I don't know why this is a big deal for any of you. I don't know what that would change if it was stolen. They're not going to prove anything. They're going to lose in court again because they've already lost like 65 times. But in the days after the American commandos raided Maduro and whisked him off to Venezuela, Mike Lindell wasn't ruminating about the dramatic military operation or oil prices. He was reviving a long-dead conspiracy theory. Lindell, the My Pillow guy, was celebrating because in his telling, a possible witness to the theory that Venezuela conspired with election equipment companies to rig the 2020 presidential election against Trump was now in U.S. custody. I'm hoping now that Maduro will actually come clean and tell us everything about the machines and how they steal elections. Now, look, there is a glitch in these machines. We do need to be honest about that. There's a glitch in the machines that could be exploited. And if you exploited that glitch, what it would look like is you would take some of the checks that they just simply, without getting into the mechanics of it, in the software, there are automatic checks. There are automatic flags that pop up if there's anything out of the ordinary. And if you were to remove the automatic check from one of those mechanisms, potentially you could change votes, or you could add votes, or you could switch votes. Potentially, because what that would do is if there was no flag and you could access or pre-program these machines at like a certain level to change votes or to add votes, you could do it. And we've known about this since like 2016-ish. It's been reported, but they've looked at the 2016, 2020, and 2024 election, and they say like, what would the indicators look like? What it would look like is that you would have the two candidates, like if it was the presidential election, you would have two candidates. And the way that they won a state, like you would look mostly at swing states, and you would look and say, like, is the way that they won the state similar? Meaning, like, did the votes come in at the same time? Was there a pattern that you could recognize in each swing state where the pattern was the same? And in 2016, there were no real patterns. In 2020, there was sort of a pattern. There was a pattern in like Arizona, in Georgia, and I'm trying to remember the other state, in one other state where Republicans did okay. And at the top of the ballot, Trump didn't do very well. And so like in Arizona, you saw people that would vote down ballot, mostly Republican, but they didn't vote for Trump. And they went back and they audited that election 5 times. And what they found was that they could go back, they did hand counts, and they could see that like this is the John McCain effect. People in Arizona still liked John McCain. People in Arizona like those types of conservatives, the ones that do work across the aisle. They like the neocons. They like establishment Republicans. And so you saw that in 2016. In 2020, you saw that in 2020. In 2024, That's the only election we've seen anything that would trigger, uh-oh. And what you saw in 2024 were these spikes. We've talked about it before. They're called the Russian tails, where essentially like after 60%, I think it's like 60% of the not the tally, but the eligible voters were in. All of a sudden, like the patterns, you'd have like Trump was winning or Kamala Harris was winning and they were close, and the pattern scatter plot was kind of going along. And then all of a sudden, it's 60%. It skyrocketed for Trump and it dropped for Kamala Harris. And that actually happened in every single swing state in the 2024 election. So if we're going to do conspiracy theory and if we're going to investigate an election based on the evidence, that would be the one I would look at. That's the one that has the anomaly. And I went back and I tried to see, doing the same analysis, could we find those same types of Russian tails in 2020 and 2016? We couldn't. Now, this is a longer discussion. We'll cover this again. We'll cover this probably next week or the week after, and we'll go over this again. We've covered it once before, but we'll do it again. But what we don't have is any evidence that the 2020 election was stolen or that Venezuela had anything to do with it. In fact, there's been multiple lawsuits regarding this. It's been litigated extensively. In fact, there's a website called lostnotstolen.org. I'll pull it up here so you can see it. I'll just give you the highlights here. But this was done by 8 conservatives, all legal experts. You had Senator John Danforth, Benjamin Ginsburg, Judge Thomas Griffith, David Hope, Judge Michael Ludig, Judge Michael McConnell, Judge Theodore Olson, and Senator Gordon Smith. All of them conservatives. And the findings of this report was overwhelming. They went through every single election lawsuit that Donald Trump or Donald Trump adjacent people filed for 2020. There were 64 post-election lawsuits and 187 individual legal claims. And they went through all of those. And when they went through all of those, the report finds that there was no credible evidence that fraud changed the outcome in even a single precinct. Certainly not a state. They did in every one of these cases, in all these swing states, including Georgia, they did post-election audits, they did hand recounts, official reviews in contested states, and they found no irregularities that would overturn any certified results. Occasionally, they found some votes that had been counted twice. Occasionally, they found votes that shouldn't have counted for maybe they voted in 2 states. But it was minimal what they found. And that would happen in every audit of every election. Biden's victory has been attributed to these conservative legal experts to normal political factors. The pandemic was obviously a problem. It was in full swing when that election was happening, and Trump was the sitting president. Biden was coming in. Historically, if a president is dealing with hard economic times, whoever's running against him wins. We saw that in 2024. Let's see. Let me go there up real quick. Economic downturn obviously it came into play. Shifts among college-educated white voters, and some Republicans splitting their ticket, not voting down ballot for Trump. The authors, again, all Republican, argue that continuing to claim the 2020 election was stolen is baseless and it harms public confidence in elections and the rule of law. They said they acknowledge that any system, and including ours, has vulnerabilities, and they recommend ongoing improvements to making voting easy to vote and hard to cheat. That was their outcome. But each state that they did, I'm going to go through each. Arizona, there were 8 different lawsuits in Arizona, and there were 29 individual claims, including that Dominion machines manipulated votes, that they improperly counted ballots, that there were unsolicited mail-in ballots, that there were ineligible voters, and that drop box locations were not monitored. They did 5 different audits. You had the cyber ninjas, who are GOP-led. They found no widespread fraud. They said they only identified 100 questionable ballots out of 2.1 million in Maricopa County. That's what the Republicans found. That there were 100 ballots that they had questions about in Arizona. 5 times they audited this. In Georgia, there were 6 claims that covered fraud or improper ballots, ineligible voters, or blocked observers, like the suitcase of fake ballots at State Farm Arena. All of these were dismissed by the courts. All of them, for no standing. There was a full hand recount in Georgia. That means they went through every fucking ballot. There was a full hand recount. They did multiple smaller audits, and they did multiple state investigations. None of them, even run by Republicans, found any evidence of irregularities or fraud. In Michigan, the claims included absentee ballot and mail-in irregularities. Same thing. The cases were dismissed pre-hearing for lack of evidence, and then the post-election reviews and audits also found no fraud. In Pennsylvania, Trump alleged fraud. There were 14 different claims on observers, mail-in ballots, and eligibility, all dismissed pre-hearing because they lacked evidence or they were voluntarily withdrawn. One case lost on the merits. They did an audit, and there was no evidence that there was any widespread fraud in Michigan. Same with Wisconsin, same with Nevada. Does this guy realize we have the news to check the BS he is saying? Yeah, give me a counterclaim. Also, don't use the news as your source. That's a weird thing to say. Read the court documents. Read the cases. I'm citing the cases, the court cases. I'm sorry. Last I checked, Trump lost all 64 of those cases. What counter evidence are you going to provide when he lost all 64 cases? Anything? Don't you use the news too, you grifter? No, CJ, because I'm not a fucking dipshit. I haven't used the news. I just showed you my sources. I've been showing you my sources. I don't have CNN, NBC News, Fox News. Bro, it's just telling that you guys don't actually, one, know how to do research, which tells me you've never researched anything in your fucking lives, and two, that it doesn't really matter. You're just going to believe whatever the fuck you want to believe anyways. This show's not for you. There's other dipshit shows or dumbed down shows. I guess PBS is getting canceled. Go watch Dora the Explorer or something. I don't know. That might be more on your level. No, but nothing. No fraud. So why are we seizing voting machines in Georgia? What do you have to obtain a warrant from a judge? Depends on the case. We read through the warrant yesterday. It doesn't show what evidence they provided to the judge. But it's hard. Like, what do you think happened? In order for there to be fraud here, what you're going to have to say is that Georgia somehow was able to pull off multiple hand recounts or a hand recount and multiple audits in a state where the election board is controlled by Republicans. And they were able to get those Republicans to agree to hide the fraud. Yeah, I did hurt their feelings. Or can some of you guys get new insults? Like calling me gay or saying I have low testosterone. Like we've been hearing that for a year. Pick it up. Get better. Let's just fucking do the Epstein stuff now. Let me pull it up. Read some comments, then we'll do the Epstein stuff. This is going to be a kind of a bummer of a day. Jen Dub is the best boss, bitch, bouncer, beach bouncer. My bad. Thank you, Amy Lynn. And just a reminder, guys, we are crowd-funded, so anything you can do to help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the live today would be greatly appreciated. That's how we pay our bills here. Unfortunately, George Soros is not responding to our emails to send us money, so right now we have to rely on you guys. Damien, thank you for the super chat. Lindsay said, tell Jen I said sorry, I forgot to tithe earlier. I'm sure she accepts your apology. Jen is very forgiving to everybody but me. Let's see. Jen, did I miss any? Oh, Lee, I got that. I think we're good. Update here. All right. Like I said, we've got an outline. I've got some videos that I want to show you, but I do think that with us not being able to see each other until Monday, I want to go through the Epstein files that were dropped today. Let me get the link that I sent to Jen because I forgot to put it on the outline. There we go. So this is what's dropped today. You have to be 18 years old. That's great. You can go here. So let's see. What's the first name? I'll let Republicans choose the first name that we want to search here in the Epstein library. What's the first name you would like me to search? Jesus. Holy fuck. TikTok, I got like 80 warnings. Has got a name for me? Clinton. Okay, we'll do Clinton. And what we'll do is we'll take, oh, no results. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bill Clinton? Uh-oh. Okay, there's one with a space after. Uh-oh. You guys want to try a different one? I honestly thought Clinton was going to pull up. That actually surprised me. I hadn't searched Clinton yet. Anybody else? We don't want to talk about the Epstein Files. VMBLV is on the Epstein. Ooh, what's VMBLV? What is that? I don't know what that means. Elon? Well, I'm letting Republicans choose. All right, well, let's do Trump. What the fuck? The whole thing might be down. Holy shit, we looked this up earlier. Jen, is it working on your end? That would explain why Clinton didn't pop up.
So I'm wondering if they're deleting some stuff because Dolphin sent me, I'll send this screenshot to you.
Bro, did they really release the Epstein Files and then block them?
It looks like, and I haven't confirmed this, but Dolphin just sent this to me. I'm just sending you a screenshot she sent me. That there was one particular thing that was there and now it's gone.
I don't even know. Because we did this. I mean, you did it too, right?
Yeah, before the show.
What? Oh, there we go. All right, we're back up. We'll try Clinton again. I just had to refresh it. All right, we'll do Clinton first. All right, what do we have here? What pulls up a Clinton? Holy shit! They redacted the fuck out of Clinton. Do you have anything in there? CD. It says Clinton Bali. It's a fisherman. This is a trip in Bali. Is Clinton in here anywhere? Doesn't look like. A lot of things titled nudes. Clinton there. All right, we'll try the next one down. Whoops. Why doesn't it let you go back? There we go. When was this one released? Oh no. There was a whole FOIA section. Oh, I saw the FOIA section. So the FOIA section's gone now? It's just somebody in a robe. I mean, these pictures though, like, even when you look at these, Epstein clearly was taking a lot of pictures to, like, it appears to have blackmail. Some of these pictures don't make any sense. There's Clinton with somebody blacked out. All right. Let's try Trump now. One more. Because this is what I think that we've got problems with. polling Richard Kahn. That wasn't the first thing that was up at first. Boy, they have, Jen, it is crazy. They have changed everything since the start. These are just election polls. Epstein sending to Richard Kahn. All right. This, I guess it says here, was unprofitable Trump. Trump played Holiday, 70 million. Trump takes sole control. Trump had early bought a hotel casino. All right, let's look at this one. Oh my God, they did take it down. Holy shit. All right, let me show you what they took down. Let me go back to, I know this is on Twitter. Jesus Christ, the cover up is so obvious. This is old. Look, well, I know. Well, I'm gonna pull up the actual. I'm gonna pull up what they have now hidden, and we'll read them. There's a community notes on this real quick. Let's pop this up. Make sure these aren't made it into this post needs detailed snippets from the Epstein Files. The entries are details of calls. Okay. So these are calls made to the NTOC tip line. These are phone calls that came in. They have Trump on them. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off. He measured the children's vulva and by entering a
You need
digit.
to just be a little careful with the words, just a little bit.
Yeah, can I show them? I'm gonna
You
change
can
it.
probably show them, just maybe use like use the letter or something like that instead of saying it.
Entering a digit rated the children on tightness. The guests were elder men and included Elon, Don Jr., Trump, Ivanka, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give OS to Donald Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate. I was 13 years old when Donald Trump forcibly took advantage of me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. Reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform OS on Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was probably 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while doing it. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. Clinton's in this one. Reported she has a friend who was a personal assistant to Epstein in Florida from 86 to 91 or 92. This friend shared names of some of the guests of Epstein's party to include Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. There's Clinton in that one. This one also includes Clinton. At age 16, while modeling, Collar attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, Collar reported she was SA'd by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured Collar and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Collar stated Orrin raped her best friend, and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl named Blank. Collar named other individuals involved in big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Okay. Complaint reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California, between 95 and 96. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in said gorgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been unalived. Geez, that matches what what's Sasha's last name was saying. Rumored to have been unalived and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, he would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other vulgar word. Complainant claims to have video of high-profile parties, dealings, cartels, and having witnessed Robin Leach unalive a young girl at a party. Who's Robin Leach?
Isn't that the lifestyles of the rich and famous guy?
Yeah. I think. Is that who it is? They're saying yes? Okay. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriend blank were victims of Epstein's and one was unalived while working as a limo driver. Complainant recalled picking up Trump. Okay, we've read that one before. That's the limo driver one. Complainant followed up with a call with the NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 84. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals in her trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Okay, so that one's not new either, right? That we knew that one. Complainant reported Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform acts with him and alleged Trump was present when her uncle unalived her newborn child. Jesus Christ. I'm just saying, like, these are specific and they're about Trump. Like, we're not getting these stories about Bill Clinton. We're not getting these stories about everybody else. Patricia said, if you've not listened to Sasha Riley's recounting of the personal abuse, better listen. Jesus. All right, let's go back to these, see what else I can look here. Donald Trump killer in a ball. No. His wife. This is about Trump Castle here. Entrance of Trump's Taj Mahal. Bought a third Atlantic City venue. That's about a business. That's a joke they keep writing there. In June 2018, Attorney General's office filed a civil suit against Trump and his adult children. Jeez. Oh, there's the FOIA ones. Do we have those now? Are these searchable? These are calls. I don't think anything's pulling up with Trump. Let's go back. Maybe we search Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, let's see here. And this is from, doesn't say who this is to. This is weird. Why would they black out who this is? You got neglected to pass along our filing from last night. It's attached here in case that's helpful. New York Mag, Public Affairs. Why would that be blacked out? All right. Get over it. Yeah, guys, get it. Guys, Jerry wants you to know you just got to get over it. You got to get over kids being trafficked and abused. Get over it, guys. Trump's president. Joel said some of the sickest people imaginable. Rory said just sending to get Jen off my ass. Adam said Trump knows everyone who told on him. Terrifying. Something's happening here. Said I love listening to a well-researched podcast and especially love you swatting the maggots. Thank you very much. Let's see. Here's where I would like your guys' help. I'd like your help to let me know if, as you're searching, if you can search with me. Let me know what to search because there's a ton of people that are pouring through these records right now, and I do want to cover what we have. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a different show. I'm going to need some help. That was Midas. I think that's kind of the big ones. 26 different new claims against Trump today. These ones that we already saw. What do we do with this, MAGA? Do we just not investigate it? We just move on? Oh, VMBLV is somebody that's actually here. Okay. When I search for VMBLV, they're actually somebody that's here. Bill Cosby and Trump golf tournament. Okay. Let's see that. I'll search that. Jen, if you're sending me stuff that is for this, will you just jump in and tell me?
I sent you the things that Dolphin sent me. I sent you the screenshots for those.
Oh, that's right.
Right above the last screenshot of the super chats.
Okay.
Shelby in the TikTok chat, I think, provided this to Dolphin. She said. I think she said she saw it happen in real time. It was there and then it was gone.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw that happen. That was crazy. So they forgot to redact Trump's name. That one's blurry. I can't see it very well. Can you see it? From Dolphin, can you just tell me what it said? Like the screenshot you sent me is blurry.
Go right above the last super chat screenshot I sent you. I just copied and pasted just the image by itself.
The one from Shelby, you said?
Yeah, so I sent it at it was sent at 10:18, but if you go right below it, it's just the screenshot of what was blocked out.
Okay, gotcha. We read that one. Anybody else? We should look at Michael Cohen. Let's see if Michael Cohen's in there. You are a traitor. Treason will be charged. Lick my ass. We got people worried about trans people. You just go beat off Jeffrey Armstrong. Go fire one off and come back when you can stop thinking about trans people. We get it. There's some hot trans people. What is this? Mike Monaco and Barry Spivak called on behalf of Cohen. They asked whether we would like to file a Rule 35 and requested a meeting to discuss it. I asked what has changed since we told them on April 17th. We did not intend to file such a motion. That said, what is this about? The Epstein. Oh, that's an old one. That was from Cohen from before. Maybe not that much. Okay, deleted. Epstein. Is it these? So is that why they shut it down? I think that's what they're saying here. Oh yeah, this shit doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Why can't I zoom in on those? Since I've clicked on them, it's weird. Guess if it's the screenshot. Can't see them. Cohen's a fall guy. Cohen has been weird. Like the Cohen silence once this started coming out is pretty telling. I think that I don't think Cohen is being very forthright. I've never thought Cohen was very forthright. I've had problems for a while with Cohen. I had problems with him coming on TikTok and people just openly embracing him. Like Michael Cohen has not been a good guy. And I feel like because he was willing to talk shit about Trump, people kind of welcomed him. But he's kind of a gross guy. Trump and Mac. Get rid of Donovan Valentine, will you? I'm tired of you spamming the chat. Looking at anybody else. Bro, what is the chat doing today? Your whole identity, which would be tied to Hollywood, is about to be completely and utterly destroyed. All right.
I was just reading that.
Good to see QAnon is still alive and well. Oh, yeah, we can search Sasha Riley. Let's see. That's a good point.
Maybe I'll look up some of SCOTUS.
What do you mean?
Like a Clarence Thomas or
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Oh yeah, it's Pat. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh. So from Robert Sobelman. Who is Robert Sobelman? A former federal prosecutor. Oh my God. He's the guy that was, so he's a former federal prosecutor that got scrapped by Trump. He was investigating Eric Adams. And this is, so that was that last year. Okay. Pursuant to the standard protocol in this case, please see below and attached. This is from Christine Somebody to the Epstein Maxwell victims. Good morning. I wrote to you previously regarding Epstein. I really need help outside of Florida because these agents that have been terrorizing me and are corrupt, and I believe they are psychopaths. I'm living in a nightmare and they have threatened my life. I'm a target of the very people who raped me. In 2021, I ended up in jail and didn't know why I was there. A sheriff, Grady Judd, entrapment along with the FBI. Sheriff Grady Judd was at the church raping me as a child, and the CIA and FBI knew and did nothing to help me or my younger sister. I have this sneaking suspicion, by the way, guys, that like TikTok's going to take me down, so be prepared to go somewhere else if TikTok takes me down. I've never gotten so many warnings at once. They clearly don't want this out.
Check out the link tree in the bio for where we're at other places if you're not already.
Could be my last day on TikTok. The FBI knew. Oh, let's see. There was a Sheriff Grady Judd was at the church, raping me as a child, and the CIA and FBI knew and did nothing to help me or my younger sister. The FBI knew I was raped by Epstein when I was between the age of about 10 and 12 years old, and they knew I was, gang raped by Stephen Bannon and 9 other men while strapped down on a table at Epstein's. I mean, again, these are accusations. I think I have to say this. These are accusations. We're not saying that this did or didn't happen. I don't even know exactly the terminology, but I'm trying to keep my ass safe here. But Steve Bannon sure was talking to Jeffrey Epstein a lot during the Trump administration leading up to Trump winning the election. They were very close friends. Clearly very close friends. And that was at the Epsteins. These men targeted me because they made reference of me being strapped down and raped as a child. This was my punishment for telling that I saw James Bulger and Kevin Weeks kidnap a child. Is that Whitey Bulger? It's James Bulger. Isn't Whitey Bulger's name James? Trying to look up who James Bulger is. The fuck? The title is, okay, this is a kid. Oh, this is a kid that was, holy shit, this is a kid that was kidnapped. On what would have been James Bulger's 35th birthday, we look at what has happened since the unaliving of a toddler and to his 10-year-old killers. A case that shocked the nation. I don't know if this is the same thing. Where was this at? Jesus, this is a dark day. This is going to take us to a lot of bad places today. Is this the right person? Does anybody know? What are they saying here? This is my punishment for telling what I saw James Bulger and Kevin Weeks kidnap a child. Who's Kevin Weeks? Oh, this might have been Whitey Bulger. Okay, yeah, it probably was Whitey Bulger. Kevin Weeks is Mafia. Okay, it was probably Whitey Bulger. Hitman? Okay. Thank you, guys.
Real fast on YouTube. If you're going to type in all caps, you're probably just going to get timed out. Don't do that. It's just yelling in the comments, and it's kind of annoying. So stop doing it. We're going to get timed out.
Good job, Chad, on that, by the way. Catching that. This witch hunt started when I was 5 years old. I couldn't remember, but I remember now that I told my teacher I was being abused, and I told her I witnessed my parents doing a kidnapping. They weren't my parents. My teacher, Janice Farnham of Prattville School, tried to help me, but help never came. James Bulger's connections were obviously powerful, so that's Whitey Bulger. In 2021, I was told by Robert A. Murray that when I remember everything, they will unalive me. Who is Robert A. Murray? Anybody know who Robert A. Murray is? Sound editor. There's an attorney named Robert Murray. Anybody in the chat know who that is? Why does Zoom Trump as a fake? William Riley. Oh yeah, we would need to look up William Riley. Thank you on that one. All right. I had no idea what he was talking about because I couldn't remember. This appears to be true. He also said when I remember, I shouldn't report anything to the authorities because they will just say I'm a psychopath. Well, I'm not going to be silenced. I will tell the truth. I'm a target of Donald Trump. In 2014, a CIA agent tricked me into going to Epstein's in Palm Beach. He said I was going to a holiday party. I got there with him and was handed a drink, and I was drugged once again. He took me to a room and said, wait here, I'll be right back. And immediately the door was shut and locked by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Every time I tried to get out, they would back me into the room, and it was Ghislaine Maxwell who was really doing this. I was locked in a room to be a sex slave. At one point, the butler unlocked the door, and standing there was Donald Trump. I wasn't his cup of tea. He said to a man, make sure she drinks some of that so she forgets I was here. Then said to the butler, only open the door that you think I will like. In 98, Robert A. Murray was working with the FBI and told me I was a victim. Let's look up Robert A. Murray, FBI. It's Robert L. Murray. Robert W. Murray. And if anybody finds a link on Robert A. Murray, let me know. I didn't understand what he told me. I don't remember. He was working with the same short FBI agent that took me from my bed several times and drugged me. In 98, I was asked if I saw James Bulger kidnap a child when I was about 14, and I said, yes, I did. Days later, I was set up and put on a government list by a woman at Massachusetts General Hospital that was a psychiatrist. She mentioned the name Rico, who she said was going to call because she had a connection after I told her you can't put me on a list without a court hearing. This woman was working with my younger sister. I was called by the woman who pretended to be my mother, and she told me I had a meeting to discuss my sister's treatment plan. I walked into a witch hunt of false allegations. These allegations were made by two women who are Winter Hill gang members. At the end of the meeting, the psychiatrist said, you shouldn't be talking about the kidnapping you witnessed to endanger your family. Then two men came in and injected me with drugs, and they put a wire in my wrist. I couldn't remember they did this until recently. They've been listening to my entire life. I don't know if that's even possible. These two women who made false allegations about me set me up, and I almost died. They asked if I witnessed a kidnapping. I said I did. Days later, James Bulger and Kevin Weeks abducted me, and another woman and I was overdosed with drugs for having a big mouth. I woke up in a different month. The man who pretended to be my father was also involved, as he did work for James Bulger, which I didn't know or could remember any of the horrors of my life. A witch hunt that continues today, which includes the FBI trying to prove I'm a lesbian and entrapments that are just wrong. I drove to a sushi restaurant, and the FBI agent said I drove by a school on purpose, which is just a lie. This just goes on and on. In 98, Robert Murray, my boss at Bank of Boston, said, okay, let's see, Robert Murray, Bank of Boston. Yeah, let's see. If anybody finds a link there, let me know. said there were psychopaths in the CIA and FBI playing a game. He said Donald Trump was involved and was in this P3DO ring. He mentioned Justice Clarence Thomas, who I didn't know. He also told me I was sold to the CIA by the man who pretended to be my father, the man that raped me repeatedly and trafficked me. I didn't believe it, but I do now. These agents here in Florida that took me from my bed and I believe are psychopaths. I remember the short agent asking me if I had a bad luck nightshirt. I didn't understand what he was talking about, nor could I remember because I was drugged and sitting there in a nightshirt, half naked. Now I understand, and this is truly going to be hard for anyone to believe, but every time they take me from my bed, I'm wearing a particular nightshirt. In 2014, I was abducted by Kevin Weeks and another man. A woman I knew set me up and said she knew these men. I couldn't remember Kevin Weeks because I was drugged on a substance that erases your memory. I was tortured. I was drugged and smashed in the head with a hammer. As the men smashed me in the head, the man who tortured me said, "Be careful, she's our computer." The man that was electrocuting me as he was saying, "You're not going to talk about the kidnapping you witnessed, right, Christine?" Then he would electrocute me. John Martirano was the man who raped me and took a picture of me naked and said, "Let's take a picture for Clarence Thomas." Justice Clarence Thomas raped me at a church in Massachusetts when I was about 4 or 5 years old. This is also in my CIA file because a few people have asked me if I remembered, but I couldn't remember much of my childhood because I was drugged so much. After I was tortured, I remember standing on a sidewalk. I couldn't remember what I just endured. The woman I was with called the cops. The cops came and instead of taking me to the hospital, I was sent to the FBI office because they said I was a psychopath. So interesting, the use of psychopath here. I had blood dripping from my head from being smashed in the head with a hammer, and I couldn't remember. I was just tortured. The thing is, like, these things are so hard to believe because we all live normal lives. But after you read this and then you hear what Sasha Riley said, and a lot of this stuff, like, it does connect with other stories. You can just say that. Again, these are accusations. We're not making a claim of guilt. But the government is giving us these documents, which means we can read them. TikTok. Jesus. I tried getting help from my sheriff, but he's manipulated by the FBI agent. I was accused of being on drugs, and I'm not a drug addict. My drug test came back clean. I was Baker, acted unjustly, and it was a setup just as Robert A. Murray had described to me previously. Short FBI agent has shot a GPS tag in my butt and leg. They put a pin in my knee. They put a wire in my neck. They put pins in my head. They put a pin in my back, and I'm not doing well. The woman agent who is married to the short agent said she wouldn't tell the doctors I did this to myself, or she told the agent she would tell the doctors I did this to myself, and nobody would believe me. Went to the emergency room, and I can't get any doctors to believe me because the FBI agents usually call and say I'm a psychopath. About 2 years ago, I woke up on a table, and these agents had me in a facility where they do medical procedures. They put a pacemaker device in my heart, and they went through my femoral artery. They said they put something in my carotid artery as well. They threatened my life if I talk about certain things I witnessed. I witnessed these agents doing that relates to a kidnapping P3DO ring as I was victim as a child. These agents are guilty of participating in the beating death of missing children in Massachusetts, and it's a sick and twisted plot that they are the very agents targeting me, the victim. Look, just if we're going to draw connections here, convictions of many Catholic priests happened in Massachusetts. So when we're bringing churches into this, I think that is reasonable. I don't think that that's out of the question that churches would be involved in this. I'm a victim of being raped several times and set up by Winter Hill gang members that are in the FBI and CIA. We know that that's true. They had informants. They had people that were working as agents. People have faked their death to be in the CIA at the expense of terrorizing me. One man, Keith Shipley. Why do I know that name? Why do we know the name Keith Shipley? Anybody on that? It's a good point, Greg. He said, also remember with trauma, memories can get all fucked up, so truth and psychosis can blend. Have to believe they were traumatized and abused while looking for commonalities.
I just Googled a Keith Shipley, and something popped up from Deseret News. I don't know if that's any, but it sounds like they passed away like in 1995. So I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. That's a good point on that. When I was a kid, I got into like a traumatizing car accident. I think I was like 12. We were on a dirt road and we hit like graded, like where the road's graded, and our back end of our car slipped out. My dad lost control. We hit a rock and then we rolled. And when we came to a stop, water started pouring into the car. And so at the time, obviously thought we were in a lake. I remember specifically just thinking like, I'm going to die. That was the thought that went through my head as the water came in. And my mom was screaming, and my dad. My mom was like above my dad in the passenger seat. She undid her seatbelt. She fell onto my dad. And then after a minute, we realized that like water wasn't still coming in, and we had just rolled into a swamp. But if you ask anybody, myself, my sister, my mom, or my dad, about that accident, we all have different stories. And we all remember details, and some of those details are conflicting. So I agree with that. Another person that is alive and in the CIA is Virginia Giuffre. When was this letter? August 12th. Whoa. Where was that? I remember the same FBI agent telling me that they had to put her in CIA because they would unalive her. All this did was silence Virginia, and the people that wanted her dead should be held accountable, but instead the victims are silenced. In 2008, my boss said to me, the FBI is on the phone. Did you see James Bulger kidnap a child? I said I did. That night I was raped by Ron DeSantis. I woke up undressed on the floor, tied up and beaten while James Bulger stood there with a gun. Then Ron DeSantis came in and raped me. He said, by the time I remember him raping me, I'll be locked up as a psychopath. Then a woman came in and faked sex with me, and that woman is Nancy Mace. James Bulger said he was going to put it on you porn. I couldn't remember this. This was my punishment for telling. I'm not a psychopath, nor am I a predator. I'm a victim of many rapists. These FBI agents, I got sold to be raped and never asked for this life. These agents are into some sort of witchcraft. And in 98, I was told people in the FBI and CIA were playing a game with my life. I didn't believe it, but it's true. I couldn't remember any of this, but the CIA drugs are cruel. The short FBI agent took off his belt and told me to kneel down and whip myself for watching an Amazon Prime video that had gay men in it having an encounter. Drug made me into a robot, and I did it while he and others laughed. Another time I was drugged, they had me stand in one spot with my arm in the air for hours, and I was just a zombie. I threw up after. I have the very psychopaths in the FBI investigating me when I am their victim, and it's so twisted. I'm attaching my chest x-ray with the device in my chest. I've never seen a cardiologist in my life. I have Medicare, and you can check. I'm also including a picture of my legs from the agents torturing me. When I got my x-ray, I sent it to a pacemaker doctor, and they weren't sure what it is. The FBI agents said they would call the doctor and tell them that I had a boob piercing, and that's what the x-ray is. These agents told me nobody will believe me, and I hope it's not true. Also, I would like to know who the men that raped me at Epstein's in New York. I was strapped down and couldn't move. These men said I was strapped down just like I was a child when I was raped. This is so unjust and traumatizing. I would like to know why these men are being covered up and why they aren't prosecuted. Same gang raped. The punishment for telling police that saw James Bulger and Kevin Weeks kidnapping a child. I reported that as soon as I started to remember. Michael Francese and Sam Gravano, along with the other Winter Hill gang members, are involved. Jesus. He has a podcast. He has a very, Michael Francese has a very prominent podcast. A big Trump supporter, too. Didn't Francese is he the one that just did a Jubilee? Didn't he just do a Jubilee? episode? Let me look that up. I'm pretty sure he just did. Sammy Gravano, yeah, that was the rat. I woke up tied to a chair, a knife to my stomach, and then gang raped. I promised that little girl I would tell her family what had happened to her. Somehow, I think the short FBI agent has twisted the facts on this incident to cover for his fellow gang members. I thought I was just a normal person until I started to remember everything these monsters have done to me, and it's facilitated by the CIA and FBI in this ring. I've been targeted so they can destroy my reputation and credibility. I'm not going to be silent. I was silenced for years because I couldn't remember, but now I remember I would like justice, and people should know who these monsters are. There's more that I am remembering, and it starts out the same way, which is abducted from my bed at gunpoint and drugged by CIA substances. It's cruel how these nut jobs in the CIA and FBI have terrorized and taken over my life. This is not justice, and because I couldn't remember, I would like to be able to hold my rapists and these agents accountable before they do kill me. I know who I am. I'm a good person that didn't deserve any of this. I've become a target of high-powered government officials that are my very rapists. The theme of my life and punishment is for telling people and authorities I witnessed James Bulger and Kevin Weeks kidnap a child when I was younger. Thank you for reading this. I do believe the nutjob FBI agent will try to get this email deleted or tell you that I'm a psychopath, and for once, give me a voice as I fight for my life. Christine Constantino is the name there. I need a break for a second. Benny said, look up Franklin Credit Union scandal conspiracy in Omaha. YouTube has an unreleased documentary called Conspiracy of Silence, similar stuff. Thank you. Just a reminder, guys, take care of yourself. This is heavy shit. We may bounce back and forth. That's a lot to read. And I may not do as many long form ones there. Also a reminder, we're crowdfunded. So if you feel like you want to support us, great. If not, also great. What do we want to, what else should we search here? That was Clarence Thomas.
Bubba.
Nothing came up with Bubba.
Something came up with a weapon.
What do I search?
Just search Bubba. It was like the first one.
When I search Bubba, nothing comes up.
Let
me refresh. Oh yeah, Pilot Riley. Good point. Was it William Riley? I think my link might be broken though. Let's test this with Trump. Yeah, my link's broken again. Let's leave.
I just sent you the link to the first one.
You did? Okay. So from Jackie Martling to, that's Jeffrey Epstein. Do we know who Jackie Martling is by chance, Jen?
I don't know, but I'll look and see what I can find out.
American comedian and writer. What would I know them from? Stand-up comedian, musician known as Jackie the Joke Man, best known as a former writer and in-studio comedian for The Howard Stern Show. Tracks. And of course, he's friends with Epstein. Big 2015 holiday special, download. All Six of My Wild. Okay, that's for him. Jesus. I don't even think I can read that. These are his jokes? Jen, was there something specific here you wanted me to... Jesus.
It was just his picture. What do you look like?
No, in this specifically, this email. What was I looking for in this email?
It had so when I search Bubba, it comes up. He calls the number, and Bubba says he'll be right over. Then Bubba hands the shot pew pew to Sabian. Sabian says, "What's
there we go.
for?"
Okay, so Bean wakes up one morning and there's a bear on his roof. So he looks in the yellow pages, and sure enough, there's an ad for Bubba the bear remover. He calls the number, and Bubba says he'll be right over. In a little while, Bubba pulls up in a little van, opens the back, and unloads a ladder, a baseball bat, a shotgun, and a flea-bitten old pit bull. Sabine says, "What are you going to do?" Bubba says, "I'm going to climb up there and knock the bear off the roof with this here baseball bat. After the bear falls off this here pit bull buoy, he's going to grab the bear's testicles in his teeth, and ain't nothing going to make Bowie let go. At that point, the barrel managed enough for me to get him into the cage. I got in the back of the van. Then Bubba hands the shotgun to Sabine. I don't know how to say it. Sabine says, "What's the shotgun for?" Bubba says, "If the bear knocks me off the roof instead, shoot fucking Bowie." This is all fucking bizarre. These are all weird. Just like super dirty, weird jokes. Great actor Peter O'Toole's father was a very thirsty bookie named Spats. He came home wasted one Christmas Eve, burst a paper bag, and told little Peter that Santa Claus had just unalived himself. What the fuck? These people are so fucking weird. This is from the Howard Stern show? They said this on, like, live? Some weird-ass jokes. All right. Let's see if this works now. Have you found anything when you search Riley?
I haven't searched it yet.
I don't. Mine still might not be working. I have a feeling that these elites live a very, like, dark and bizarre lives. That's what, every time I read these, it's just like these people. There's the accusations, which are dark, but like the communications between them are so bizarre. Sue said, "Important info to get out there today. Good work." Thanks, Sue. Appreciate you. Good to see you, by the way. Cops don't trespass. Let's see. What are we doing? Oh, yeah, Bondi. But mine's not working. My link isn't working.
Here, so so when I searched Riley, it came up with that link. All right, just see if it'll work for you, and if you can pull up that link.
Okay. I wonder why mine isn't working.
It's got to be you. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm kidding.
Nothing. What the fuck?
I wonder if.
I mean, I can turn on my VPN. You guys might disconnect for 1 second. Hold on.